guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I've got another advent calendar design for you guys, but this one was made specifically for adults because it's made to hold mini bottles. But of course you can put whatever you want in here, so you can make it for anybody. And this is actually my quickest and simplest design to put together, so there's no reason not to surprise somebody with this for Christmas. So let's go ahead and get started. Make sure that you grab that free SVG file from my blog at svgnation.com, and there is a link in the video description that's going to take you directly there, as well as links to the supplies that I'm using in case you need to check any of those out. So once you get that uploaded, go ahead and add that file to your canvas. And when you upload that to the canvas, before getting started, make sure that you check that size. So this actually came in the right size, which makes me very happy because Cricut Design Space has been bringing stuff in super small and it's been really frustrating. So make sure that that width says 39.665 and that height says 35.828. If it doesn't, go ahead and change your size before ungrouping everything. So once that is that size, go ahead and ungroup your layers so that we can modify these. And I'm just going to zoom out a little so you can see what I'm doing better. Zoom out a few times. Alright, so we're going to start right here on this first layer, which is the green layer. And we're just going to open this window to open these up. So this first layer right here, this is our score lines. So we're going to go ahead and change that operation to score. And then this next layer right here, these are our numbers. So we're going to be using our Cricut pens for these. If you don't have pens or a machine that writes, you can just delete these and write them on yourself. And if you want, you can ungroup these and rearrange them however you want. I like to put them random, but if you want them in order, feel free to do that. So we're just changing that operation right here to pen. And I'm going to go ahead and choose my pen color because I want to use more than one pen for this project. So I'm going to change that to red. Alright, so moving on down, I'm going to go ahead and open up this one. I've got these on different layers just because I want them different colors. So this is our 24 Days of Christmas Spirits. Of course, if you're using something other than mini bottles, you can delete this text and write in your own text. And if you aren't sure how to do that, I'm going to leave a video or a link to a blog post that I have that shows you exactly how to write with Cricut pens. It's also going to list my favorite free writing fonts, so just check that out if you're not sure how to add different text. So I'm just going to go down here and change each of these to pen. And I'm just going to change it to the colors that I want it to write with. So we're going pen. I'll make this one red as well. If you want them all the same color, then you can just click that whole group and change it. There's no need to do them individual. I'm just doing it individual since I want different colors. Okay, so I think I want it like this with some red, some black, a little mixture. Alright, so once you've modified these three layers, you need to go ahead and attach those right there to the piece that it's going to write on. So let's go ahead and attach that. And now we're just going to move down to all these red pieces. So for each of these, you're going to see that it has a little arrow. So go ahead and open that and click on those lines and change those to score. And then make sure you click right here where they're grouped together so that you can attach those score lines. That's one of the biggest issues I feel like a lot of people have when they email me is that they can't figure out why their project's not scoring where it's supposed to. And that's because you forgot to attach it. Your Cricut only knows where to score if you attach those score lines to the layer. So it's very important that you do this. So don't skip that step. And if it's not scoring in the right place, this is why. So you're just going to continue to go down the line right here. And we're just changing, sometimes it turns into a rectangle if it has like 4 score lines. So you're just changing either those lines or the rectangle to score. And then you're clicking with the item it's grouped with and attaching. And we're just repeating this for pretty much all the red pieces. Alright, so once you've gone through and you've changed all the score lines, your project is ready to cut. So go ahead and click on Make. You can save it, don't save it, whatever you want. Before cutting, make sure to check your map preview screen because how you see it here is how it's going to cut and write and score. So if you don't see your numbers or the words or the score lines where you want them, you need to go back and make sure that you attach those. Also, make sure you have all the right colors because like I said, this is what your Cricut is going to make this sheet look like. And again, for the red ones, with the score lines, you want to make sure, which are a little further down, you want to make sure those score lines are where they're supposed to be and that you didn't miss any. So you shouldn't have any black sheets of paper. So once everything looks good, let's go ahead and click back up here. We're going to click Continue. And go ahead and connect your Cricut And then you're going to select the material you're using. So for the green, I'm using a medium weight cardstock. And also, we're using a lot of different tools here. I am using the Explorer, so if you're using the Maker, it might go in a different order. So first you see it wants me to load my scoring stylus in clamp A. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and load my paper on the mat, and then you're going to press the flashing Cricut button to start the scoring process. So now that it's done scoring, it's prompting me to go ahead and load my black pen. So I'm gonna leave my mat loaded, and all I'm doing is swapping out that scoring stylus for the pen, and then you're just pressing that Cricut button to continue with the process. All right, so now it wants me to load my red pen, so I'm just gonna swap my black pen out with the red. And since this is my last tool, it's automatically gonna cut after it's finished writing. So I don't need to unload my paper until after it's finished cutting. So once you have everything cut out, go ahead and grab this piece and these 4 pieces that don't have any of the slots in them. I'm going to go ahead and grab the 2 that are longer, so you can see those ones are a little bit longer because they have the ends on them. And all you're going to do is you're just going to fold on all of these little tab pieces. There's 4 of them. And you'll do that for both pieces. All right, and this is symmetrical right here, so it doesn't matter which side you have it on. We're just gonna add some glue right here to the side. And you wanna take one of these pieces that you just folded on and go ahead and line that up as perfect as you can. And then fold that over so that it attaches. Now when you attach it, you do want to make sure that it is lined up right here with the side. So lift that up, make sure that you have that lined up the best that you can with the side. You want to take your time and make sure that everything does line up on this project, just because it's going to look better. So we're just lining that up and gluing it down. And we're going to repeat that with the other 2 pieces. These only have 2 score lines, so just go ahead and fold. And we're adding these pieces to the top and bottom. And just do the same thing where you lined it up and then fold it over. And then go ahead and attach that top piece as well. All right, so now we want to turn this. You want this part facing the up because that is the top, and we're going to work from the bottom and our way up. So the first piece that you need is this piece that has 4 different cutouts in it. So it's the long one, but it has 4 cutouts. And yes, these 2 pieces, they are different red. I ran out of this red. I thought I had enough, but I was 1 page short. But these are in the middle, you're not even gonna see them. So instead of starting over and cutting everything again, I just cut them a different color. So, but you're not going crazy, they are a different color. So we're just folding on the score lines here, so there's 3 of them. And so now when I attach this to the bottom, I like to attach it so the top part is flat here. So I'm gonna attach them all that way where it's like flat on the top. It really isn't gonna matter which way you do it. It's just this is where the item goes in, so I like it to have something to lay on. Okay, so all we're doing right now is we're just gonna add glue right here. And then we're just adding this in. So you just wanna line that up with the sides and right on top of the layer right here. So you don't want it to like go over on either side. It should line up perfectly right on top. And you should actually have just a tiny bit of space at the bottom so that you don't have to get it perfect and it won't overlap. So when you do glue this down, it's important to make sure that these sides can still stand. So if you feel like you glued it down too much on one side, you need to slide that over. But once you have that glued down and it does stay where it needs to be, then we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one. And I'm gonna just kind of turn this to make it easier. And if you need to kind of flatten that too to make it easier, do whatever works for you. So the next piece has a lot of cutouts. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, has 7 cutouts in it. All right, so go ahead and grab that piece and fold on the score lines. And we're just attaching this to the next row. And again, I want to place this so that the flat side is up top. If you place it the other way, it's not going to ruin your project though. Alright, so the next 3 pieces are identical. So just grab one of those ones. And we are just layering these on the next 3 lines. So by cutting like the slots in these, there's a lot less assembly for the inside of the box. And by using the Cricut to do all the writing and decorations, this really makes this calendar so easy to put together. It does take a little while for that one piece to cut out, but once that's cut, this is a very easy and quick project to put together. And of course, you can put whatever you want in here. It doesn't have to be mini bottles, but it was made specific for that since I had a need for that. But it's a really fun calendar, and it's a lot of fun just to like be able to tear it open instead of having the doors that just open. So there's no peeking beforehand. And since it's so quick and easy to put together, at least in comparison to my other advent calendars, you can, you know, you don't have to reuse this. You can just throw it away and make new ones each year. But if you want to reuse it, you still can. You can just put another top on and just cover up, you know, peel out where you've ripped off and just put another top off the next year if you don't want to do all this assembly work. All right, so once you have these down, go ahead and start with these 4 pieces that are identical. These are the smaller ones. And again, what we're doing is we're just gonna fold on all 3 of these score lines for all 4 of these pieces. So I'm gonna do that real quick so they're ready to place in. So for these pieces, one of these sides has a little cutout. So this side needs to actually go this way, like it's gonna connect in with this one. So the part that has this without the cutout is going to the bottom. And so all we're doing is we are adding this one right in here. And you're just lining this up with that first cutout on this one. That's the one where it's gonna fit into. Even if it wants to go to the other cutout, we still want to line it up. I'm going to turn this around. Okay, I'm going to add it in this one first. And I'll slide it in there. Some of these go in super easy. Some just want to be a pain. So you might have to, there we go. So we've just kind of slid that in just like that. And if this is not straight right here, then try using a different piece because these should line up perfectly straight. So we're just repeating the steps. Again, all of these pieces always go on that side. And we're sliding it in. Usually once you have the first one in, the rest are much easier to put in. So see how it just slid right down. And we're just doing that for all 4 of these pieces. Okay. All right, so once you've done that, let's just move these out of the way. You do want to take these right here and you want to glue them down on top. It's going to give it a little more stability. But also you don't want these pieces just flapping around since you're going to be putting items in here. So just go ahead and glue all 4 of those down. So once you've got those glued down well, go ahead and grab your other 3 pieces. So 2 are longer than the other, so that it's gonna go longer, shorter, longer. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna move this aside and we're just gonna fold again. We're just folding on each of these score lines. All right, so I did fold for all 3 of these so we can easily add them in. And we're just adding them in the exact same way, only we have 3 layers to add them into this time. So let's start here. Just kind of got to move and hold these up. They will slide in. The first one's the most difficult to get on. And I'm also trying to leave this to where you guys can easily see it, so it makes it a little more difficult. So it shouldn't be this difficult for you guys, but there it just slides right in just like that. All right, so next we're going in with our small piece. It's got the cuts on both sides, so it doesn't really matter which way it goes. Again, it's symmetrical. I do like all the tops facing the same direction and putting them all in that way. Really, it doesn't matter. I just like it that way. Maybe OCD reasons, I don't know. We're just gonna slide that down till it gets down there. Here and here. So we can just add those in and slide it down. Just make sure all the pieces are where they need to go to slide that down. Alright, so once those are in, we need to add some glue to hold these in place. So we're gluing right here at the bottom. And this is a little bit difficult. I'm gonna have to move this out of the camera to get in here, but you just kind of squirt your glue down there and then use something to help you push it down. And you can also, so like I like to do like the top half first, add my glue, flip it over, and then go ahead and flip it to do that other side, just because it's very long. So, and also you can grab pen, pencil, anything to kind of help you press that down. So once you've glued those down, we now have this one right here, right between those two that we need to glue down. This one's much easier, so we can easily reach. All right, so next we're gonna add all of our sides. I like to start with the sides because we are gonna attach the bottom into those. So I'm just gonna add glue down each of these rows. So once you've got glue on all of those, just lift this up, and you want to make sure that it presses flat against it. So it does help to like stand it up, and then you can press down on it. And as you're pressing down on it, just make sure that the walls, you know, they're straight. They go in the little windows they're supposed to go in. And then we're gonna lift this up and make sure that this fold goes over all of these, and just stand it up to help you place all of these in place. Okay, so now we're adding our glue to one of the other sides. This is the bottom right here, and we are also adding it on these side pieces from the piece we just put down. And then we're just lifting up. And again, doing the same thing. It's so much easier just to stand it up and hold them down in place. And it really helps to be able to see if everything's lined up when you stand it up. It's a lot harder when it's laying down. Alright, so now we are moving on to our final side. Lifting this up, flipping it over, and then just pressing down on everything just as we've done. So now we're adding our back on. So let's just go ahead and add glue to all of these. You're also adding glue down all these middle pieces as well. Anything with a fold over, you're adding glue to. Then we're just gluing that big old square right on top. And so for this box, I am actually using just a medium weight cardstock. So I'm not using a very heavy cardstock. This is only like 65 pound weight. It's what I already had, and it does work. I did test it out. It does fill with mini bottles. But if you want something that's really sturdy, use 100 weight cardstock, and boy, this thing is going to be so sturdy, it's not going to even wobble. And it's really going to hold those bottles really well. So it just depends on how you want your box to be. Since I'm making this as a disposable one, I'm okay with it not being quite as flimsy or like quite as strong. It's a little bit flimsy, but it's gonna work. It's gonna work for what I want it to work for. So you just decide what paper you want to use based on how you want yours. And as you see, I did have to kind of push in as I glued this down, pushing those edges in, making sure nothing like pops out. And I just worked my way around the box. Again, this is why I always use clear glue, because see what a mess I make? And I'm also lightly gonna go over this with my brayer. Like I said, lightly, because this is a cardstock construction. I don't want to like destroy it. Alright, so once you feel like that is good to go, flip it around. And so this is gonna be your top. And this is very important. Do not add your last piece yet. This is your last piece. Do not add that, because if you do, you have no way to fill your calendar. So instead, you need to fill it first. So each of these slots was made with kind of a specific purpose. So for these squares, they're meant to fit regular size mini bottles. Now, if the mini bottle is super tall, it's not gonna fit. This only goes 4.5 inches tall. These long skinny ones, these are meant to fit flatter bottles. So those are kind of like your flatter, non-circular bottles. And then these squares are for anything else that was just too big for the other ones. So you can kind of fill it and plan your shopping list accordingly. And also, if you're not using mini bottles, if you want to just fill this with whatever you want, or a mixture of mini bottles and whatever you want, gift cards do fit in here, so they fit perfectly in these flat ones. They're also gonna fit in this one. They're not gonna, and they'll, oh, I didn't think they'd fit in there, but they do fit in there kind of that way. So you can fill this with gift cards as well. And of course, there's so many things that are gonna fit in here, especially with them being longer. So fill them with whatever you want. So once you have all of these filled, until it's completely filled, so we're just adding glue all the way around the square. And then also up and down these. Also gonna put a little bit right here. Just throw some in there. All right, so it's filled. We got all of our glue. So all you're doing is you're just adding your top. So this is now ready to go. So watch how easy this is once you find day one. When they're ready to open it, they're just gonna put their finger in there and just pull right on up and find a nice little surprise in there. And like I mentioned earlier, you can reuse this. What you would do is just cut off all these extra edges around here and these little middle pieces and just get a new top. Just glue a new top right on top of this one. And you'll be able to get another year out of it if you don't want to remake it each year. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy this advent calendar. I'm really liking this new style where you have to tear it open. I think it's a lot more fun, and my kids have requested that I switch theirs out with a tear open one next year. So I'm sure I'll be working on more of these designs. But if you guys have any questions, just ask those in the comments and I'll answer them there. And before you go, I'd love it if you like this video and subscribe. That way you can see what else I have coming up, because I've always got fun crafts coming up. But thank you guys again for watching. Bye.